Paris is a city unlike any other. It is overflowing with culture, history, and beauty. It is everything you imagine it could be, and then a bit more. We love Paris, and in this video guide, we are going to provide you with everything you need to know about the city for your next visit, but we are going to keep it tight and focused. We are going to provide you with a healthy mix of activities. They not only include must-sees for tourists, but we also steer you towards the hidden gems and insider tips on how to spend your time in the city like the locals would. Stay with us until the end because we guarantee that you will discover sides of the city that you didn't expect. First, let's talk about when you should go to Paris. Generally speaking, summertime and December are the most crowded months, so you should expect to stand in line for quite some time when visiting the most popular places. For us, the best time to visit Paris is from April to June and October to early November. During these months, the weather is enjoyable and crowds are smaller than during the summer. What should you wear? The most important factors in packing for Paris are the activities you'll be doing on your trip and the weather. Then you can focus on creating your style. But know that the city style is tailored and chic, yet conservative with an edge. To avoid standing out as a tourist on the Parisian streets, avoid items like flip-flops and sweatpants. Let's talk about the budget. Paris is not a cheap place to visit, so it will likely require some sacrifice and thus some planning. Don't play it by ear, and instead know ahead of time what you are willing to spend, and then set your itinerary accordingly. Want some detailed tips on budgeting? We have an entire video dedicated to smart budgeting for a Paris trip, so check that out. Where should you stay in Paris? Well, there are so many great neighborhoods in the city. They are broken into 20 arrondissements or districts. You really can't go disastrously wrong with any of these. Paris is not huge, so as long as you stay somewhere near the center of town where the metro goes, you can get from one area to another pretty easily. Still, it's best to choose a spot that enhances your stay. We think that one of the best neighborhoods in Paris to stay in is Les Marais. It is located in both the 3rd and 4th arrondissement. You will love walking around the narrow laneways, and it is also home to some of Paris's top tourist sites, and is also the historic gay neighborhood. To say that Paris is famous for its dining options is an understatement. Even for a seasoned resident, it can be difficult to narrow down recommendations to a particular restaurant. The truth is, you can get a satisfying meal pretty much anywhere in the city. We love going to eat in the neighborhood of Rue Montéguer. It is a wide pedestrian street located in the 2nd arrondissement. Cafes, bistros, and restaurants offer plenty of sidewalk tables at which to sample traditional Parisian foods or sip a coffee. France's iconic capital city is filled with fantastic monuments and never seems to run out of awe-inspiring landmarks of any type. It's the city that should be explored on foot or by a river cruise in order to absorb and truly appreciate all the architectural beauty. Of course, the Eiffel Tower is the monument you have to see when you visit Paris. Initially built for the 1889 World's Fair, it became the symbol of the city. The tower has 3 levels: 1st floor, 2nd floor, and summit. When purchasing your ticket, you'll need to decide which you are going to. We like the views from the 2nd floor, and you can just use the stairs to get there. It's high enough to see all of Paris, but low enough to pick out distinguishing landmarks. But our favorite view is from the Arc de Triomphe. It too is one of the most iconic attractions in Paris, but it offers unobstructed views of both the Eiffel Tower and the city itself. In the video description, we provide a link to our itinerary guide that gives you a full listing and map of suggested sites to see. Paris is packed with museums. A must-see, of course, is the Louvre. Warning, the Louvre Museum can be hugely overwhelming. The museum is massive, with nearly 400,000 objects to view, and there is never enough time to view them all. Our recommendation is twofold. Plan what you want to see ahead of time, and don't stick to the obvious. We have a video on the hidden gems of the Louvre if you want some suggestions. Museum fees in Paris can really add up, cutting into your budget. But you can come to Paris on a budget like we did by going to the museums that are free to the public and are less crowded. For a free museum, we recommend the Petit Palais. Although the Petit Palais contains some interesting art collections, the most impressive part of the museum is the actual building itself, with its beautiful, decorative front and stunning interior. Paris is an enormous city, and when we are there, we find that it can get overwhelming. Fortunately, we learned that whichever part of Paris we're in, we can always chill in a park to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city and get some stress-free and leisurely walking in. Paris is the greenest city in France, with more than 450 municipal parks, gardens, and green spaces spread across the city. A must-see are the Luxembourg Gardens. These belong to the Luxembourg Palace, built for Marie de Medici, but the palace is now the seat of the French Senate. The garden features beautiful statues of French queens and saints scattered throughout the park. A hidden gem garden would be the Coulée Verte. This is a lush, elevated park built atop a revitalized railway structure in the 12th arrondissement. We have a separate video that goes deeper into the gardens of Paris. As Paris grew into its role as a major European hub, it eventually ran into a major problem. Its cemeteries were overflowing. And so the solution arose to place them in the centuries-old tunnels that had existed beneath the streets of Paris since the 13th century. Today, a little more than a mile of the Catacombs is open for visitors to explore. You can get a ticket for self-exploration or a private tour. We recommend getting tickets for one of the guided tours that gives you special access to some of the unusual off-limit areas. Consider paying a visit to one of the beautiful Paris cemeteries. Yes, cemeteries. Steeped in history, Père Lachaise Cemetery is the perfect place to walk among the dead and feel oddly connected to them. The cemetery has a beautiful collection of funeral art. It's like a remarkable outdoor sculpture gallery. Paris is known as the fashion capital of the world, so don't miss your chance to discover the latest trends from the biggest names in fashion coming out of Paris. Fashion shows are held regularly throughout the year at the Galeries Lafayette department store. The fashion show lasts about 30 minutes. It is best to get there a bit early to get your choice of seats. Want to venture a little out of the city? Consider going to the flea market. The Les Puces Flea Market is the largest of its kind in the world and is brimming with vintage and antique treasures. Get there early because it becomes very crowded after lunch. If you want even more detailed travel tips and hidden gems on Paris, check out our full destination playlist. Enjoy your trip!